show natural examples to substantiate our position. In every endeavor of life that one embarks, if that particular giving or endeavor that you're pursuing is one that supports life and addresses health, one has to be very extremely careful as to what you are affording to support this life. It's not like a tailor that cuts into a piece of material to sew a suit, or a shoemaker who will make a pair of shoes. If you make a mistake, the pair of shoes, that's okay. Make another. The tailor could cut the suit too short, well, you sell it, make another. But in addressing the human body, one has to have the understanding that would aid us in delivering that which is being pursued, health, the cure of disease. It is asked of me, Dr. Sebi, you alluded to understanding and obedience. Would you please elaborate on obedience? Of course, it is necessary. The first time that I was told that I was obedient, I was about 57 years of age. I went to visit a man named Mr. Roger from St. Vincent. He lived in New York, 94 years of age then. We talked for about 6 hours about many, many things and beautiful things. The man was born the same month with me. They call him Sagittarius. When I was leaving, going out the door, he said, Dr. Sebi, I want to say this. I have taken your product and I feel good and I enjoyed your conversation, but you know what I got from you? I said, no, sir. You are obedient. I looked at him. And I realized it was to be the first time that someone associated me with obedience. And it was a feeling that went through me that I never felt before, because my mother never said that to me, neither my grandmother. And my grandmother is at the center of my life. There's no philosopher, there are no books, there are no teachers, there are no leaders. The only leader and teacher I ever know is my grandmother. I never been to school, kindergarten or otherwise. Now this man has provoked something in me that I would like to say that it was a sensation that was pleasurable. It was more of like awareness. And it was frightening because when he said it, I felt that all my life. But I wanted to be now more so obedient because he said it. I said, thank you. Thank you so very much. And I left. Obedient to what? I didn't have to ask Mr. Roger, obedient to what? Because he was a Sagittarius. He was just like me. He knew that I would know what he was talking about. Obedient to the laws of life, to that which is given to you. You know, as a little boy, I never been to school. I remember when my mother lived under the floor of a house, not on the apartment under the second floor or below. No, we lived under the floor in the dirt on burlap sacks. And I look out of the floor when it was raining that day, and I said that one day I was going to heal my mother. She was very sick. Now, why did I say that? I was only 5 years old. But I made a statement that came out of my mouth at that age that I'm living now. What did I do in the journey of life to be afforded that my mother no longer have the pain she used to have? And that I said that when I was 5. When I was 27 in New Orleans, 1960, I was sitting in a barber chair, Claiborne Avenue, with Timothy Cogman. And I said to him that I was going to do something for the black woman of the world. I said, because she's the one that has been disenfranchised, dejected, and rejected by everyone, including us. What that something was going to be, I didn't know. I was a merchant seaman then. Little did I know that I was going to be a healer. At 27, ladies and gentlemen, I was suffering with asthma, diabetes. I was impotent. I was angry. Very extremely angry. Later, I'm to understand in my research that my anger was precipitated because the oxygen that I was being deprived of being asthmatic, made me neurotic. Had to. I'm being deprived of oxygen to my brain. There is instability. I find myself now affording myself to the world as a healer. And something came over me about 5 years ago and it reminded me, but you're not totally in compliance, Dr. Sebi, because you said that you was going to do something for the black woman of the world, and now you're going to have to do that. So what did I do? It was easy for me. I turned it over to the sisters. They are the one that's curing AIDS now and sickle cell and all the other diseases, not me. They learn it, and they're doing it. I felt good. That was easy. Again, obedience showed up when I was working for the county. A steam engineer. The boy didn't go to school. He has a job as a steam engineer in 1970. You would think that he would be holding on to it because the boy is already 37. And he has a job as an engineer, making all that money. And one day, again come another voice. 2, you're going to quit your job and you're going to quit your wife. I quit my wife that I loved so very much, Marilyn Woods, and I quit my job that was the best thing I ever had. Why did I do that? I don't know why. I remember when I left Maryland, I cried. I cried 5 days. And in my crying, I said, well, if you cry, if you left her, why are you crying? Why don't you go back? But the voice inside said, you better not. Obedience to that voice from inside of you is what I'm talking about. But that voice that comes to us is denied because philosophy has taken over. Philosophy. Well, there's Benedict Spinoza on the improvement of the human understanding. When I picked that book up and I opened it, I didn't understand anything in this book. I thought that I was very stupid. Had to. After all, the boy didn't go to school. Benedict Spinoza is a philosopher. But look at his inconsistencies now. He said, on the improvement of the human understanding, how could your understanding be improved when you're eating hogs, potatoes, rice, and beans? So Benedict Spinoza just gave us a half-truth, or half of his thought, I suppose. I mean, I'm helping the man because he's the philosopher. On the improvement of the human understanding, and it is hog, meat that made the cows mad in England. What did they eat? Meat. So when Benedict Spinoza said, talk about the human understanding, he should have explained that meat and carbohydrates would really play havoc on you, and then you need improvement. But to improve it, you had to leave that stuff. That was not forgotten. So after all, I wasn't that stupid, isn't it? Mr. Benedict Spinoza. The other one was, even though I never felt that he, Benedict Spinoza, because he was a philosopher, that he was superior to anyone else, Benedict Spinoza afforded himself by nature, was afforded to us by nature to do just what an ant does or a crab. He has a duty. His was to talk. Mine is different. Mine is to afford healing. As I turn toward the philosophy of healing, because of the carbon papers, meaning the understanding that comes out of that perspective, I was able to see inconsistencies, not only in the allopathic, such as supporting us, the chemicals that are inorganic and carcinogenic. Why has this been afforded? Because of disobedience. Again, disobedience. You know what happened when you were disobedient to your parents? You get a little whipping, they call it, with a belt. I never got a whipping in my life. Disobedience to the laws of life? Yes. Here it is. The allopathic, I submit the active ingredients in the plants and then use that. But God made a plant with 102 minerals. When you isolate one, that's a poison. They call that a protoplasmic poison. The herbalist, he just as guilty. The poor healers in America need help. Lots of help. The herbalists and alternative medicine need more help than the physician. Because the healers, the herbalists, are using peppermint, aloe vera, echinacea, golden seal, comfrey, garlic, and all these things are poison. You need help. They need help. They need love. They've been reading books. Life is not a product of a book. So why do we read books expecting to extrapolate from that book substance that is applicable to life? Something is wrong. So when I found that these things were poisonous, I spent and pondered much why things are so clear to me. Is it that I am treading on treacherous ground like Mr. Magoo and I'm totally unaware? Is it that I am insane and I am the insanity is something that is real. You could feel you could see a soul, you could feel a pain, but when you are insane, you are the last to know. Because the images has changed gradually. I wanted to know if I was insane because why things are so clear to me. others? Why is it that I am so easy to change and to drop a previous understanding to something even better that is complementary? Well, it happened to me. You see, being the little boy that I always am, and I like being that because I get away with things, I'm not serious. I don't have to be serious to know what I'm doing, isn't it? Well, in my embryonic stages of healing, I went to see Mrs. Holloman. Mrs. Holloman said, you know, the sap that you gave me, it made me feel very good. But what am I going to drink now? You said that you're going to afford me the best nutrition there ever been. I said, I want you to drink carrot juice, beet juice, celery juice. She said, hold it. Stop it. I said, yes, ma'am. I'm always obedient. I listen to every one of you. I like to listen. When I listen to you, I learn. She said, you want a healer? I said, yes, ma'am. I want to heal everything. She said, but you're not going to do it the way you're going. I said, why, ma'am? She said, because you're affording me things that are artificial. Why, ma'am? She said, you go and research, and you'll find that all those things that were made. I didn't have to go too far, because when I came to Los Angeles, I don't know why I did this. I never been to school, but I went to the market training institution on the corner of Western and Hollywood Boulevard. Why did I do that? I had never been to school. I hate school. I don't like school. I don't like shoes. But now I'm in school. Why did I enroll in this market school? Did you know that when Mrs. Holloman told me that cows were artificial and that beasts were artificial, it took me straight back. It was a trigger that took me back to MTI. 1963. I learned in MTI that there are 33 varieties of cucumbers. There are 666 varieties of apples. There are about 33 varieties of rice. Potatoes, there are about 12 varieties of potatoes. And that these things could be grown twice a year. Then I begin to take it home. The things that God made produces fruit once, not twice, not twice. I immediately relinquished that old position because it was easy for me. I started to construct the edifice that I represent today. And did you know that I left Los Angeles in 1980 to come back to Los Angeles in the year 2002? And all of the healers in California are recommending peppermint, carrot juice, garlic, aloe vera. Is it that we get stuck in? We get jammed. We get corralled in a perspective, so much so that it becomes so difficult for us to relinquish the position? Or is it that when they entered the perspective to afford themselves as a healer, they didn't do the homework that was necessary? That is, to understand the cosmic perception. My return to California, Los Angeles, I already heard how people jump all over me, which is okay, because God has afforded me some very big shoulders. I could take on the load. The healers that were practicing the inconsistencies, 22 years later, they're doing the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, cyanide is affecting our healers. Cyanide is affecting our preachers, our imam, our rabbi. I just had one yesterday. You would think that being a Muslim, or being a Christian, or being a rabbi in the Jewish faith, that one would be aware of the things that support and sustain life. Because if my religion and my philosophy is incomplete in the givings, then my life has been compromised because of this unawareness. So, when the healers of today are told that Dr. Sebi says that carrot juice is bad, the healers, oh, he's just saying that because so and so and so and so and so. That's okay. I can understand that, because when you have been practicing for 20 or 30 plus years and some newcomer on the set tells you that you're not wrapped too tight, now there is antagonism, because you have to recognize that you've been wrong for 30 years. No, you don't have to take that position, that you've been misinformed. You have been misinformed for 30 years. This I find in Los Angeles. Every healer in Los Angeles is guilty of disobedience. The poor preacher, he too is disobedient, because the Bible says that the herbs are for the healing of the nation. But it's not the preacher's fault either. The preacher was unaware that cyanide, which changes the images, is vigilant. The imam, yes, the imam needs help because he still eats lamb and he eats barley. These things are very detrimental. The rabbi, likewise. What is needed today is what most people call a synthesis. But how could this come about? When I said synthesis, because there has to be some collective understanding to stop the violence. Because I remember when I was violent, and that was not precipitated out of me being bad. It was the food that was given to me that made me angry. It's the beef that was given to the cows in England that made them angry. Ladies and gentlemen, all are stressed. This giving could only be afforded out of the carbon papers, because the carbon papers came out of the path of Onghos. The path of Onghos prevents anyone from making mistakes. Mistakes are not made when one is traveling on the path of Onghos. The path of Onghos is the path that is designed by nature for that individual cell group. If that path is not followed and obeyed, there will be stress. Like example, I always give, the gorilla was not placed in Alaska. The gorilla was placed in Africa. But if the gorilla thinks that we are all one, like Homo sapiens always say, well, all the gorilla needs to do is to go to Alaska and sit on that piece of ice with the polar bear, and he would not be here pretty soon, isn't it? Likewise, if the gorilla ever make the mistake to eat the food of the polar bear, it would also take him out. And what do you think is happening to us? This is why the whole planet is angry, because one cell has gone astray. They call that what? The white corpuscles is proliferating. Why? Because the white corpuscle detects that the red cell has accepted a bacteria. It has to cleanse it out. But in cleaning the bacteria, it tends to eat the cell itself. So what do? We fix it by taking it back into its cosmic arrangement, into the cosmic balance. We're going to feed the body that mineral that is deficient. And there goes leukemia. The white corpuscle no longer is prolific. We need healing. I need healing more than any one of you, because I am aware of my elasticity. I'll soon be 70 next year, and all the damage that has been done to me throughout the years that I indulged in eating those things that were acid, they have taken a toll on me, like they're taking a toll on you, my brothers and sisters, friends, and everyone else. Obedience to the laws of life is a thing that we have to go into it gradually. This isn't something that we're going to jump off into it immediately. Steps. But yes, prevent the starch. You begin